bedtime with your boy, a little spiel, okay? So, the difference between an urge and a want, okay? An urge and a want. Let's say I want to tidy up my beard, right? It's getting a little bit out of control at the bottom. I've been a bit lazy. So, I want to tidy it up. I want to go, shave it, make it look clean. My motive is I want to look clean. This is pissing me off. It's a little bit out of control. I want to tidy it up a little bit. Do I have the urge to tidy up my beard? No, it's not an urge. Okay, so what's the difference between an urge and a want then? Oh, an urge is something you can't control. Okay. So people have urges for porn. Why do people have urges for porn? Because they don't want to do it, but they have an urge to do it. And it comes from nowhere. It comes from dopamine circuits. It comes from your sexual energy. It comes from your testicles. It comes from the testosterone. It comes from the devil. What I'm arguing for here is there's no such difference between an urge and a want. They're the same thing. People want to watch porn. People want to do drugs. People want to drink alcohol to excess. People want to do those things because they see benefit in it. Going back to the beard example, my perceived benefit, the benefit that I am perceiving, that I see in my mind's eye, is if I shave my beard, it will look clean. And if it looks clean, to me, that's good, right? That's a perceived benefit. A benefit that I can see, that I can anticipate in my mind's eye. Because I perceive that benefit, there's motivation towards it. With PMO, it's the exact same thing. You have a perceived benefit, right? A benefit that you see in that moment when you decide to PMO, or you decide to want to PMO. Like you that moment before the urge comes a thought pattern, thoughts. Like, if I PMO now, I feel really good. If I PMO when I get home, I'll be less stressed. If I PMO right now, it will be like I'm having an orgy with all the dream girls. If I PMO right now, it'll make me feel a bit more comfortable. It'll make me feel a bit better about myself. It will just blast me away into another world where I can forget everything. I'll be able to see all those new fetishes. There's always a motive. Do you understand? There's always a motive. Wants don't occur without rhyme or reason. Urges don't come out of nowhere. All an urge is the emotion of want that you now believe to be external to you. It's not. So let's say you anticipate, so perceived benefit, right? You're perceiving a benefit and therefore you want it. Let's say I perceive something that's scary. Let's say there's a spider in the corner of that room. I don't like spiders. I'm a bit of a pussy when it comes to spiders, all right? Let's say there's a big spider in the fucking corner. When I see that, I'm going to have that perceived fear of, fuck, that's fucking hell, I don't want that near me. And therefore I feel fear. Similarly, if I open up my computer one day and I see your credit card information has been hacked and it seems pretty legit and it's not like a phishing email or whatever, I'm going to look at it and be like, fuck, fear, perceived fear, emotion of fear, right? Or if I look outside my window and there's like a guy looking at me like that and I'm like, what the fuck, and it's the middle of the night, I'm going to feel fear. You perceive something, you feel an emotion. You perceive a benefit, you feel the emotion of want. This is very intuitive. If you perceive that there's an injustice, if you see, holy shit, did you hear Gary pushed over a fucking little girl at the pub? What? He pushed, what the fuck? Outrage. You perceive something that's unjust, and therefore you feel outrage. Before emotions, there's something that you perceive. There's something you're seeing it in your mind's eye, you're understanding it, you're believing something to be true, and therefore emotion. As I'm making this video, I'm perceiving that this video is going to go out to a few hundred people, and they're going to watch this, and by the end they're going to have a bit more of an understanding as to what the difference between an urge is and a want. And when they understand that an urge and a want is different, and they accept that they just want PMO, they're that step extra closer towards quitting PMO, and that makes me feel good. So that's why I perceive a benefit in recording this video. So I'm fucking doing it, right? We do things for reasons. We don't. And the problem with NoFap community is they convince you that it's without reason. Now, because you're convinced that your want is without reason, you no longer analyze the want. It goes completely unanalyzed. And ironically, the thing that is going to actually help you quit is changing your want, your reasons that are generating the want. Because the urge doesn't come out of nowhere. The urge comes from your reasoning, your perception. As you alter your perception in line with the truth, your value of PMO is going to go way down. The perceived benefit, perceived, right? Perceived being the key word. The perceived benefit, the benefit that you personally see in it, might change. And this is normal. So when I was deciding which degree I wanted to do, I was tossing up between physics, chemical engineering, and computer science and economics and maths. I don't know what the fuck I wanted to do. And so I was constantly weighing up these options, considering the benefits of each, considering, okay, what career is it going to lead me to? How much money is it going to pay? What will I enjoy the most? What do I have passion for? What can I actually see myself studying? Which universities do chemical engineering? Because chemical engineering isn't done at this uni, so I can't do it there. Or the grade entry requirements for physics here is actually a little bit easier than for chemical engineering. So I'm making all of these mental things, and we do this all the time. This is a very natural human thing to do. But for some reason, we don't apply this process towards PMO use because we've been convinced by the nofap community that this is somehow a different thing in a class of its own, where urges exist and relapse exists. They invent this whole new stratosphere of information that is simply just not true. And we can just bring it back to the simplicity. If we bring this stuff down back to fucking sanity, then we're actually going to be able to get a better understanding of it. And it is simple, guys. It is simple. It's a lot simpler than you think. You don't need to overcomplicate this shit. You really fucking don't. And this ideology's been around for a while, guys. This ideology's been around since the 1920s, or even 2,000 years ago. You could argue the concept of temptation has existed. The concept of external temptation has existed since Christianity and probably before. The idea that outside things can tempt you. They can't. Want is an internal perception of benefit. If you perceive something to be beneficial and you want it, you are the one who wants it. You haven't been controlled. Even if the thing you want is kind of fucked up, that's a judgment of society and a judgment of you. Like, just because it's fucked up doesn't mean that it's not a want, that it's coming from you. Accept it shamelessly. Be like, oh yeah, okay, I want to watch this weird BDSM shit. Okay, well you can unwant that. We can change that by changing the perceived benefits that you see. Why do you want to do that? You know, in sales, they're always like, so imagine car sales, right? They're like, what are you looking for in a car? You tell them, and like, okay, well, what about this car? It's too expensive. Blah, blah, blah. You're constantly weighing up the benefits. And the benefits that you're seeing are constantly changing because the car salesman might be like, oh, that engine you thought that this Audi has, it doesn't have that engine. It's got a slight modification of it, which is a little bit worse. And now you're like, fuck, that Audi I wanted to buy, that was my dream. I've been researching that for ages. I didn't realise it had that engine. How could I be so silly? Do you understand how this is working? Changing perceived benefits. You're like, fuck, I didn't realise that. Realisation, right? Realisation, and then you're like, fuck. If it's not providing me those benefits, and those benefits that I think are coming from porn are coming from my mind, then why am I using the porn? And it suddenly becomes a lot clearer. You know, this is the type of thinking that we need to be doing. Weighing up options, reconsidering whether the benefits are actually true, whether the benefits are as important as we might perceive it to be. Not urges and don't do this, discipline, and this is ludicrous. Lunacy. No one else exists in your head but you. Your desire can only come from you. It can't come out of fucking nowhere. You can't do that, my friend. Can't do that. Alright, that's it. Like the vid. And leave me a comment. What do you think of this? What do you think of this spiel? If you have any objections as well, let me know. I'm always up for civil discourse. You know, if you disagree with the video, then disagree with me in the comments. You know, be polite, of course. Be polite, be civil. But tell me what you thought. Okay, I didn't agree with that because of this reason. and I get back to you and we have a civil discourse. Right? That's it.